Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Reilly. Today we're going to be looking at the Lexus UX300e. It's not self-charging, it's fully electric. So let's get started.
Today's video is sponsored by EasyGo. As well as being Ireland's largest EV charging network, EasyGo supports over 10,000 Irish EV drivers to find and use more than 1,200 charge points active on the EasyGo app. This works across the island of Ireland, north and south. The team at EasyGo also provide home, workplace and public chargers together with fleet management and payment service solutions, ideal for businesses transitioning their fleets to electric vehicle driving.
As always, we're going to start at the front, work our way around the side and the back, go on the inside and then take it out for a spin. A lot of angles going on at the front of this thing between the daylight running lights, which I really like, and you have this kind of, it's nearly like scales on a reptile, kind of a grill on it, and I appreciate that it's all featuring this angle, the same as the Lexus L. You've got your pop-outs for your window washers, you've got your front sensors as well, and you've got your radar unit, etc. down here. Underneath at the front of that grille also you have slats that open and close as well, depending on whether the battery needs cooling or not. There's a small bit of fakeness going on with regards to the vents on the side. You've got your fog lights. Overall, I think it looks well. It's very angular, and I will give it that. But yeah, nice design. But again, it's the same as the other UX, which is the combustion engine one. So they're not exactly going out of their way to showing that it's electric. You have the blue around the Lexus, but that's to signify hybridization or electrification as well. So down along the side, you get to know that it is an electric. So just some nice design angles in it. Let's have a look along the side. The fact that it has that combustion engine sibling, you don't get that in the front of it. 18-inch wheels come with it, and it's like a two-tone kind of aero, but there's a lot of grooves on there, so I'm not sure how aero they are. Fairly large wing mirrors, and they don't retract, and you've got your indicators built into those as well. You have your keyless entry, you have your roof rail as well, and you have this massive electric sign writing on the side of it, so that's good. You have one of two ports. So on this side it is the AC, and then on the other side, we'll go around and have a look at that now in a second. And then you've got that sport kind of back on it. It is a compact SUV, but it gets a bit tight in the back, and then obviously the boot is small as well. On the rear then you have, again, more angles. Let's scoot around the other side, just talk about the second port. On the passenger side of the UX300e, you have your second port. So AC on the other side, DC on this side, but the connector that they've used is a CHAdeMO connector. So if you're new to the EV world, CHAdeMO would have been, and predominantly will be with Japanese manufacturers, and that's the DC. Whereas European standard now is what we call CCS, which has AC and DC together in one plug, not separated. Interesting that they've gone for this. A lot of people are wondering why. Nissan Leaf would be the one you'd recognize with that. Why you should concern yourself with it is a lot of the newer chargers will only be CCS, and they potentially may not even fit a CHAdeMO connector on it. They probably will in Ireland because there's so many Leafs out there, but if you have a bank of 10, one or two might be CHAdeMO, where the other 8 will be all CCS. And even when you have the likes of Nissan and their new Ariya, and the fact that Nissan Leafs were always CHAdeMO, but Nissan are fitting the new Ariya with CCS. It's just a funny move that Lexus did this. It's a big detractor, it's a big negative, in my opinion. Let's have a look at the rear. Shark fin aerial at the top. You have a kind of an overhang spoiler kind of setup. You have your rear wiper, you have your full brake light with these protruding brake light clusters at the back as well. You have your badge obviously and your blue Lexus, but I said nearly all the Lexuses now have that blue with the hybridization outside of it. And then underneath you have your camera, and you also have your release for the door. Not powered, and you've got two handles either side. Has a kind of a flexible parcel shelf kind of a setup. So the boot has 367 litres. boot is small, I can't deny that, and underneath you've got a lot of gubbins with regards to, you potentially put your cables in underneath that, you get a large cable for your Type 2, large bag for your Type 2, you've got some tie-off points, a light, and you've got 2 ISOFIX seats in there as well, so it is well kitted out for that. Tie-off points are all metal, which is good to see, and you have some shopping bag hooks there as well. What I can't see is any power outlet. I don't think there is one. More compromises, potentially. But yeah, the boot lets it down, unfortunately. Let's have a look on the inside. Oh, sorry, as well on the outside you're going to have your reversing sensors. What's it like inside the Lexus UX300e? I can't knock the build quality, and I can't knock the quality of materials that they use, in fairness to it. So starting from the door, you have a nice design feature on the top of it here, and you have some soft plastics, and you have leather. You also have your full electric adjustment, and you have your door with the door pocket. Small enough door pocket. Now you will fit a bottle into it, but otherwise a fairly decent door. Across the top of the dash there is a nice brown, it looks like a kind of a leather material as well, really good. Now there's a lot of buttons in here, probably too much for my taste. So you don't have to be worrying about too much about it not being enough buttons. There's plenty buttons in here. Good sized chunky steering wheel, 3-spoke. On the left hand side you have your audio menu selecting. Behind that then you have your regen braking, and on the right hand side you have your driver assist and also your cruise control. Behind that then you have lights and indicators on the left, and on the right hand side you have your wipers. But there's so much adjustments and so many buttons on it. Up on top of the dash you have 2, it reminds me of Frankenstein's bolts on his neck. On the left hand side you've got your mode selector, and on the right hand side whether you want your stability control on or off. The driver instrument the driver instrument cluster, it's broken into 3 parts. The left hand side is a panel, a digital panel. The circle is a digital panel. On the right hand side then it's just a light and an actual physical gauge for your battery level, which is a bit strange. You have a clock there, and then moving across you have an analog clock. And a 7-odd inch screen there, which is a bit small because the panel itself is huge. You've got your vents, you've got your air conditioning buttons, tactile buttons, and another row then because you've got heated and cool seats, and the seats are amazing, really, really good, well supported. Underneath that then you've got wireless charging and a 12-volt socket. Behind that then you've got your bottle drinks holder. You have your gear mode selector, reverse, neutral, park and brake. It's kind of it's nice, I'll give it that. It's leather coated. You've got your automatic hold. Then you've got the Lexus touchpad with haptic feedback. Interesting. I found that okay. This is, again, because this touchscreen is so far away you can't touch it, you have to utilize this or your voice command. And then behind that then you have your armrest, and you have this media radio control with volume on the top. It's also on the dash. So there is a lot of buttons going on here. Your seats, passenger and driver, are electronically adjusted, and you have lumbar support in the driver's one. This armrest then opens for the driver, and you have 2 USB Type A's and an audio jack in, and then it opens the other side as well, so it opens both sides, which is a nice feature, and it's nice and long. You've got that transmission tunnel legacy, and then unfortunately you're not getting any of the benefits of what's in underneath that. You've got your handbrake here as well. Glove box is not bad but not great. You've got airbags underneath it and airbags above it. Up top you've got your SOS button, and you've got your visors obviously. Cream headliner, cream seats, but black in other areas, which I like actually, because it's the wearability will be good. But I can see here around by the door handle, and this is a press car, start of the year, so less than 6 months maximum old, and I can start to see in around where that door handle has been grabbed. It's just getting a small bit grubby. So cream will always have that, so you just have to be careful when you're picking your interior features of it. But yeah, seats are good, well supported. The steering wheel is good as well, and it's electronically adjusted in and out, up and down, so reach and rake. So yeah, I think it's the first car that I've seen electronically adjusted steering wheel. Probably too many buttons for me. Infotainment system is a small bit dated. Build quality is amazing. So yeah, pros and cons there. Can't be all positive. Let's have a seat in the back. So I'll set this seat for me pretty much there. Let's see what it's like. Headroom is good. Yeah, it's about an extra 30 millimeters on top, but there's never going to be 3 people in the back of this. 3 adults anyway, even though they have the 3 seat belts. As I mentioned, it has the ISOFIX, 2 ISOFIX. You have behind the passenger, you have your map holder. These seats seem to be removable as well, because there's zips on either side. There's no pocket behind the driver. You've got 2 21 volt USB type A's, and the outer seats are heated in the rear, and they're on. Whoever had this car last had left them on. Interesting. Nice to get into, I suppose. But yeah, space wise, it's not for me, and my feet aren't even able to potentially get in underneath the bottom, so you'd survive, but on a long journey, because you've got that I'm spread legged here in the back. You also have your armrest, but because my leg is jammed up against the seat, so it's for small kids, it's for people that potentially might not have many people in the back on a regular basis. And you've got your reading light up top, LED by the looks of things, which is nice. Let's take it out for a spin. Oh, one thing you don't have in the back is door pockets. So yeah, this is the compact SUV space, but this is tight now. There are other cars of similar size that give a better rear passenger leg room. You do have vents in the back for passengers that you can turn on or turn off, but you can't control the temperature. Let's see what it's like out on the road. Child locks.
If you think this car is for you, you can contact EasyGo and register for the app by clicking the link on the screen or in the description.
Before we start, I'd like to say I really like the key. I think it's a lovely shape. It's very ergonomic. Good job. Really, really nice. Quality feel. The price of the UX300e is $56,500 after grants. So you are in that ballpark of the Mercedes EQA, the Q4 e-tron, the BMW when it starts coming out with their electrified SUVs. So it's a tough place to be in, but what I have to say is it's a beautiful drive, so quiet, craftsmanship as I talked about. It's probably a bit bitey on the brakes for my liking, but otherwise you get used to it, I suppose, just with driving so many electric vehicles. I know some other YouTubers think that it's hard to judge electric vehicles when you're only reviewing electric vehicles, but that YouTuber thinks you have to review all vehicles to understand electric vehicles. But I'm quite happy you're reviewing just electric vehicles in this channel. So driving wise, seated position, as I said when I was in situ, when we were set down just doing the internal review, the seats are amazing. Such good support, but also the fact that they're heated and cooled, and the steering wheel is heated as well. I don't think there's such a thing as a cooled steering wheel, but this one has the heated steering wheel. And it also has the wireless charger. I'm not sure if I covered that when I was doing the dash run through. Lots of safety equipment as standard on this Lexus. It's only coming in one trim here in Ireland, and the safety equipment is called Lexus Safety Systems Plus. So there's a lot of it in there. You have pre-collision warning, automatic braking, pedestrian detection day and night, cyclist detection just during the day, that's a Lexus First, adaptive cruise control for all speeds, adaptive cruise control, auto stop go, lane departure warning, automatic, lane trace assist, road sign detect, and automatic beams, high-low beam. So lots of good stuff going on there. It's a 150 kilowatt motor, and that gives you 204 PS and that 300 Newton meters of torque. So yeah, it's no slouch. I'll give it that. I have had a couple of wheel spins taking off at traffic lights, etc. So it is torquey enough anyway. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Lexus UX300e, whether you think it's something that you might be interested in. Have you bought one already? Or is there something that's stopping you from going for this car? WLTP for the Lexus UX300e is 305 kilometers. If you're wondering what is WLTP, it's that worldwide test that all manufacturers use. It's a standard test so that you can get a range estimation. So WLTP is in that. I have a video on my channel explaining it. Real world for this is about 260. The battery size is usable, a 50 kilowatt hour battery. Some manufacturers tell you what the usable is. Some manufacturers tell you what the overall capacity is. Overall capacity of the battery is 54.3 kilowatt hours with usable 50 kilowatts. And that's where you're getting, and that's where the WLTP, obviously the size of the battery will dictate, and also the efficiency and the weight of the vehicle itself. The Lexus UX300e has a drag coefficient, and I'm going to start mentioning that anymore because somebody requested it. This has a drag coefficient of 0.31. Charging the UX300e, this is where it gets a small bit weird. I don't know why. AC, it has a 6.6 kilowatt AC capability, which is lower than the norm. And it'll take 9 hours to fill it up on a home charger. And then DC, you have on the CHAdeMO, it's 35 kilowatts, and that's going to take from 10 to 80% in 70 minutes. It's just a weird figure. It's so low. So it's first of all, you're going to have to find a charger that has CHAdeMO on it. Not too bad nowadays, but just more and more of them are going to be fitted with CCS. And then it doesn't take a very fast charge on it. So it's just sometimes. There's some things I love about this car. As I mentioned, the seats, the drive, the sound insulation is amazing. The quality feel, just stuff like that is just weird.
Just a reminder that today's video was sponsored by EasyGo, who are now offering a year's free driving when EasyGo installs a charger at your home or business. For more info or to submit for a quote, click the link on the screen or in the description.
That's my review of the Lexus UX300e. Bit of a compromise car. Is it a tick box? Is it an emissions thing? Lexus, you could do better. Toyota Group as a whole, you could do better. You have the technology, you have the battery legacy with all your hybrids, and we're not even mentioning the self-charging hybrids, but just when you stack it up against the likes of the Audi, the Mercedes, the BMW equivalents, it's going to be very difficult to see who's going to be buying this. People that are brand loyal to that L badge, but there's so much other variety out there, and bigger cars, better batteries. I'm not saying that the build quality isn't great, it's phenomenal. The ride quality is great too, so there's a lot of positives about this, but just some of the quirky stuff, like the CHAdeMO connector, so it's all a bit strange. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's review. Give it a like if you have. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks for watching.